Hi class. Hopefully you have your math notebook open. You are going to take notes. If I'm going a little too quickly, just pause the video. We are going to go over adding integers. So go ahead and label today's notes with 1.2. Okay, so we are adding integers. Now, we did talk last time that I really want to use the word combine and think positive and negative numbers. So if I really think like that, the things you have to remember are, if I have something like this, even though it's saying adding, you're really combining two negative numbers. Okay? So somebody borrowed $2, someone borrowed $7, and they owe you, that's negative $9. Okay? So if we think like that, we don't have to, if we think positive and negatives, we don't have to really go, are we adding, are we subtracting, okay? But sometimes it's really helpful. You don't erase your stuff, you just keep going with your notes. Sometimes it's really helpful to have some rules, okay? So go ahead and write this. If we have the same signs, we add the numbers and keep the sign. Okay, so what that means is if I have two negative numbers, now even though this is a plus, this negative is right in front of the 7, so that makes this negative belong to the 7. So same sign, two negative numbers. I add the numbers, think absolute value, 2 and 7, and I keep the sign. So they were negative, I keep it negative. And then the more obvious example, because this is what we're used to, is two numbers, same sign, positive and positive. We add the numbers, 9, and we keep the sign. We can write positive, but obviously they're not going to. Okay, so that's same sign. If I have different signs, okay, technically you are subtracting the absolute value and keeping the sign of the bigger number. Now, when I say bigger number, I am really talking about the absolute value. Okay, so when we go which number is bigger, when we're subtracting the numbers and we're doing all this, we're working with absolute value, which is why we taught you absolute value first. Okay, so here's an example. I have a positive 3 plus, let's say, a negative 1. Are they going to put that positive in front? No, they're not. So I have a 3 plus a negative 1. Now, if you were still in elementary school, you would say this is an addition problem because it says plus. But what we just learned is this is not really a plus, it's a combining. So that is a positive 3 and a negative 1. The signs are different. So immediately I take the absolute values, the 3 and the 1, don't think negative yet. And I'm going to do 3 minus 1. We know that's 2. Okay, so my answer has a 2 in it. And I keep the sign of the bigger absolute value number. So which one's bigger, 3 or 1? Don't think of the negative. 3 is. And 3 is positive, so my answer is positive 2. Okay, let me show you another example. I might have negative 11 plus, let's say, 3. Okay, so I'm combining a negative 11 and a positive 3. So the signs are different. Immediately, I take the absolute values, 11 and 3, and I subtract 11 minus 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have an 8. Then I go, which one's bigger? And I don't think of the negative. Think of the absolute value. So just right off the bat, which one's bigger, 11 or 3? 11 is bigger, and 11 was negative, so I keep that negative sign. Someone owed me $11, that's negative, and they only gave me back 3. That's nice, but they still owe me 8, okay? Those are the rules. And I think if you really have the rules in front of you when you're doing the problems, you should be fine. So let's do some you try problems. Remember, after I write the you try problems, you're supposed to pause the video and then try them and then come back and see if you got the right answer. Okay, so why don't we do A, go ahead and try negative 51 plus 23. Remember, combined with the positive 23. Letter B, why don't you try 10 combined with a negative 18? And letter C, why don't you do a positive 25 combined with a negative 26? Okay, all different signs. Subtract those absolute values, keep the sign of the bigger number. You go ahead and pause it. Okay, let's see how you did. So, our first answer, let's move my counters. I probably didn't need those today. My first answer is negative 28. My second answer is negative 8. And my third answer is negative 1. When I do 51 minus 23, I get 28. I keep the sign of the 51 because 51 is bigger than 23. Here, 18 minus 10 is 8. 18 was bigger, so I keep its sign. 26 minus 25 is 1. 26 is bigger, so I keep its sign. Okay, I want you to pause this video. I want you to do the guided practice on page 16 and then start the video and I'll give you the answers when you're done. Please do it first. Remember, this isn't about right and wrong answers. This is about you figuring out if you understand this, and you're not going to know if you understand unless you pause and try it on your own, okay? Okay, hopefully you paused. And now I'm going to give you the answers. Number 1 is positive 6. Number 2 is positive 5. Number 3 is negative 11. Number 4 is negative 3. Number 5 is 1. Number 6 is 0. Number 7 is negative 3. Number 8 is 4. Number 9 is 6. Number 10 is 2. Number 11 is negative 16. Number 12 is 0. Remember, that's an answer. Some students say, it's nothing. I couldn't get an answer. 0. When you get nothing, it's 0, okay? Just like our opposites, because 12 was 14 and negative 14, and those are opposites. 13 is negative 5. 14 is 24. And then you go ahead and answer number 15, and we can talk about it in our next Red Track meeting. Okay, see you guys soon.